Gaming's oldest face. Throw him into a sewer, give him red clothes and a bunch of sentient chestnuts and some turtles, and he'll entertain you for hours at a time. Of course, it's Mario. Our red friend has appeared in over 250 games, and I'm supposed to pick only 10? Well, let's take some games off that list. I won't talk about educational games, that deserves a list all on its own. I will also not include crossovers like Mario and Sonic in the Olympic Games, or Super Smash Bros. Either. Again, I'll leave those for a separate list on a later day. That leaves us with just the main 2D and 3D games, some spin-off sport games and the RPG series. Still quite a task to pick a few from, but I think I'll manage. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There had to be a Mario Kart game on this list. I mean, there's more Mario Kart games than almost any other kind of game. Yeah, Mario has had a kart racing game on every console since the release of Super Mario Kart. That means a total of 8 Mario Kart games. I guess it was pretty obvious because of the name. Compare this to the 7 3D platforms he's been in and you'd be surprised to find that Mario has done more racing than jumping. At least 3D jumping. Of course, he still appeared in most 2D platforming games with a total of 12 titles, 11 if you don't count Super Luigi U, which I don't. Anyway, aside from having a lot of games in this spin-off series, it's also a lot of fun to play. Growing up, I always experienced some sort of war between Mario Party and Mario Kart, the two party games of the franchise. Of course, Mario Party is a little bit more obvious in being a party game, and a lot more boring to play alone, whereas Mario Kart can be fun to play solo too. Which is why I'm talking about karting now, not minigames. And I don't think it'd be any kind of controversial to say the latest in the series, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Nintendo Switch, is the best. Even though it's little more than just a full-price port of an already existing game. Yeah, Nintendo does do that a lot on the Switch, don't pay too much attention to it. The racing tracks in this game are very fun to play, not least because they're very colourful, and no matter how civilized you may think you are, you're just an animal who likes bright colours, so just accept it and enjoy the pretty lights in this game. It's also got 3 different rainbow roads. Of course, there's a new one which is pretty decent. By far not the best rainbow road though. There's also the SNES Rainbow Road, which is a fun callback to how simplistic games used to be. Of course, it's not the first time the SNES track has made it into a modern Mario Kart, but seeing how simple even the most complex tracks from back then were now, it's just interesting to see. And last but not least, one of the best Rainbow Roads ever to be made is a remake of the Nintendo 64 Rainbow Road. It's not just, let's redo this with prettier graphics like a lot of tracks in Mario Kart usually are. They took the original track and totally changed it up, adding glider and anti-gravity parts to it. And best of all, it's become one of those tracks which is made into one giant lap. Instead of the laps in this race, they're more like checkpoints in one giant race. Altogether, this may be one of my favorite tracks in racing of all time. And that pretty much sums up my feelings on Mario Kart 8. A great game, and I can't wait to see Nintendo's next console with their next Mario Kart. Or maybe, possibly if we're lucky, they will decide that having just a port isn't enough and we'll get a proper Mario Kart 9 on the Switch. New Super Mario Bros. Mario, like every gaming mascot, has gone through what I call gaming puberty. A time where the developers of his games seem to be in a legit identity crisis. The funny thing is, with a lot of games this happened when they moved from 2D to 3D. With Mario, however, this happened when they moved back to 2D. The moveset he used to have in his 2D games now seems rather limited. I mean, not even a wall jump? What is this, the 90s? So the new Super Mario series was born. A game series where Mario seemed to live somewhere between 2D and 3D. Literally his character model is 3D, but most other things in the game were made up from sprites. Which might sound like a risky thing to do, since it would probably clash rather badly in style, but it's not the case at all. The game looks great. Mario's moveset in basics is just all about jumps, but he's also gained a triple jump and a wall jump, both of which he picked up in Mario 64. The long jump seemed to have a little bit too overpowered to include in a 2D game though, since he doesn't have that in his moveset, and let's be honest, the difficulty in these new Super Mario Bros. Games is a lot lower than the NES and SNES games, so adding something as broken as a long jump wasn't necessary in any way. The series also continued the trend of introducing an absolute shitload of power-ups. Of course there's a Mega Mushroom and the Blue Shell on the DS, which is the game I'm talking about, but Counting the Wii version too, there's also the Ice Flower, the counterpart to the Fire Flower. The Helicopter Mushroom, which more or less just breaks the game as you can fly once again over large portions of the level. Nintendo really seems keen on the idea of flying in platformers, don't they? The Tanuki Leaf, the Cape, the general idea of Kirby. Some people might say that having all of these power-ups is way too much, that having just a Fire Flower and maybe one other should be enough, like it was on Mario Bros. 3 or Super Mario World. I may add that all the suits in Mario Bros. 3 make it have lots more power-ups than most of the other games. I disagree though. Having more power-ups, as long as they add something into the gameplay and remain interesting, is a good thing. It gives you the opportunity to play in your own style and make sure that 2 playthroughs of the game at least will be somewhat different, as you'll probably get different power-ups as you play. Most of the new Super Mario Bros. Games are worth playing, but so far what I have played, the very first one on Nintendo DS, is the most fun. So if you're looking for a place to start, you should start there, at the beginning. Super Mario Bros. 2. I almost feel bad putting this game on the list. I won't bore you with the trivia you already know. Originally this wasn't a Mario game but instead a Japanese only game called Doki Doki Panic. In Japan, Super Mario Bros. 2 was a collection of 8 new worlds, picking up where the first game left off and getting absurdly difficult towards the end. Because it was so difficult, Nintendo decided it was not fit for Western release, and I must say, they were both right and wrong. It certainly wasn't fit for Western release, but let's be honest, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels wasn't fit for any release. Those levels were so absurdly difficult that if I was shown them without context, I'd assume this was a ROM hack made by fans. To prevent a numbering clusterfuck like Final Fantasy though, Nintendo decided that the US would need another Mario Bros. 2 and reskin Doki Doki Panic to be the next Mario game for us. So now you know why this game is so damn different from anything else in the whole franchise. Well, I certainly do enjoy the game, but I also think it's a bit broken. You see, there's 4 different characters in this game. Mario, which is just Mario, he's a balanced character. Then there's Luigi, which is a little bit more slippery but also has higher jumps. Then there's Toad, Then there's the princess, who's got a hover ability. Flight in any platforming game might be overpowered, but this floating ability is downright insane. If you ever manage to miss a jump, even onto a moving platform with Peach's ability, you might just want to put down the controller and never play a video game again, because this is legit the easiest thing in the universe. You might think, well, you're seeing a whole lot of footage where you play as Peach instead of other characters. If you don't like her, don't play as her. And I would say, are you crazy? I love playing as Peach. Do you know how easy it is? And I don't even have to feel bad since it's not a cheat. The developers gave you this option. No unlocking, no secrets, no need to find anything before playing as her. You can just cheese the whole game and there's nobody that'll stop you from doing it. She doesn't only help with platforming, the boss fights become a lot easier too with Peach, as you need to get on top of some objects to pick them up and throw them at the boss, all while avoiding attacks. Being able to hover in mid-air makes dodging attacks and landing on projectiles just in time to pick them up and use them as a weapon ridiculously easy. And still, the boss fights in this game are much better than most other boss fights in the Mario series. Granted, it's a matter of throw the thing at the boss a couple of times, rather than jump on him a couple of times or press that button behind him. But the extra step of having to get something to throw at them, combined with the creative attacks the boss and the arenas make for some really compelling fights. If anything, that's the reason you got this entry on the list. Super Mario Bros. 3. This game is so great I can't even begin to explain it, so I'll just randomly start talking and see where we end up. Starting with the overworld and continue system. Looking back at these games from an era where life systems are increasingly rare, you tend to wonder what happens when you run out of lives. Do you just get sent back to the start of the level and lose your checkpoints like you would see today? No, there were no checkpoints in these games, so do you move back to the start of the world, maybe even the start of the game? Well, Super Mario Bros. 3 chooses to send you back to the start of the world. That might sound rather harsh, especially later in the game where the worlds start getting rather large. But here's the solution to the problem. Every world has a couple of milestones to reach. These levels are castles which you can't go back inside once you've beaten them, but instead they open up a path from the start of the world to where you are now. So if you run out of life, you'll be able to skip the levels leading up to that castle. Larger worlds do of course have more castles. Super Mario Bros. 3 was also the first to introduce optional levels. Of course, it would have been rather difficult to do this before, as this was the first game where they used a world map, but still. Sometimes you get to a split path where one level might just block an item house, or maybe both levels take their own route to the next level. Meaning you wouldn't have to beat both levels if you didn't want to. Generally speaking though, it would be a shame if you actually skip these levels, because most, if not all of the levels in this game are an absolute joy to play. Difficult? Yes, very difficult at times, but fair. The game likes auto-scrolling a little bit too much if you ask me, but hey, there's a reason this game isn't at the top of the list, right? Let's keep things positive though. The power-ups in this game. Mario had some power-ups in his first game, of course the mushroom, and on top of that there was the fire flower. Now, however, we got a whole lot more. There's the Tanuki leaf, an alternative upgrade to the fire flower which allows you to fly. So yeah, in most situations this is much better than the flower, and luckily it's also much more common to find. Usually I'd complain about how this breaks a game, but it doesn't really break the game at all. Again, it's fun. And that's what's most important in a game, isn't it? Fun. Then there's a bunch of suits you can get. These are pretty rare, but all of them are really useful. The Tanuki suit, which is just like the leaf, but also makes Mario a furry. They can also now turn into a stone statue, but that's not really all that useful. The frog suit, which allows you better mobility underwater, but really rather limits you on land. The Hambro suit, which is like a fire flower, but instead of throwing a fireball in front of you, this power-up throws a hammer in more of an arc, making it particularly useful to take enemies out above you. And let's not forget the most broken piece of shit in this entire game, the P-Wing. This power-up acts as a leaf, but also makes you max out your run meter, allowing you to fly instantly and more or less infinitely too. This item is pretty much a level skip for most levels in the game, and while it's broken as hell, it's really satisfying to use since you'll only get a couple of them throughout the whole game. And using them should be safe for levels that you can't otherwise get past because they're too difficult. All of these games balance each other out. The game is difficult but gives you plenty of power-ups. You have to redo the world when you get a game over, but you can skip parts of it if you've made it that far. Difficulty is enjoyable when it's balanced properly, and this game shows that like few others I've ever played. Super Mario 64. Going from 2D to 3D is a difficult thing, let's be honest. Most platforming mascots either do 2D right or 3D right. It's really hard to find anything that somehow pulls off both. Mario, however, got 3D right at his first try. Going from 2D levels, which are all rather linear, to something like this, a game that opens up a world for you? You want to spend more time in this level? Sure, go ahead, that means you won't have to spend as much time in a water level. I mean other levels you don't like as much. Oh, you entered this level to collect a star but ended up finding another one? No problem, here, take it. I mean, you found it on your own, so you deserve it, I suppose. Most levels are hidden behind paintings, so after clearing the first world you go down to the dungeons where you only find one painting. Well, short wall I suppose, but let's try it. It does turn out to be a really good level, but when you find out that you need more stars to face the second world boss, you jump into this sketchy looking pool of what might be water? Then again, it might be mercury? Worth a shot though. And of course there's a level hidden behind it, and if you're really smart, or just lucky, you'll run into the wall and see there's yet another level behind that. Nobody could have known that this wall would hide a level behind it, except for the fact that it is a dead end of course, so there must be something to do here. I could go on and on about how well hidden some of the levels are, and the last world doesn't even have any paintings at all. Just hidden levels which, at this point, you're used to looking for. Mario 64 is a game that invites you to explore every detail in order to figure out what you can do next. Even if you don't find all of the hidden secrets, you can still complete the game though. Even within the levels are secrets to be found. There's a total of 6 missions per level, but if you collect a total of 100 coins in a level, you'll get a bonus star. And the same goes for the level secrets. Every level has some of them, and they'll reward you for finding them all with yet another star. In the DS version, these secrets have been removed since it's mostly a matter of just jumping and walking around hoping you find them, so they've been replaced with silver star missions where you get to even see the locations of the silver stars on the bottom screen. The DS game of this version is certainly a lot easier, but frankly it's a lot more fun to play as it's more dynamic in its gameplay, and with its subtle design changes it makes for a better game all around. It's just a shame that the N64 version had an analog stick. The DS version is restricted to a D-pad, making the movement a pain to deal with. Super Mario Maker. You have no idea how hard it was to place this somewhere on the list. Where do I place a game which has little to no content to talk about? I mean, sure, there's some levels pre-made for it, but the main draw of this game is the level editor to make your own levels and playing the levels made by other people. It's got a gameplay from the original Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World and New Super Mario Bros. Not lose a community of people who have wanted to try their hands at making Mario levels forever, some of which have been well known in the ROM hacking community and are perhaps just as experienced at making these levels are some Nintendo developers, and you get a fantastic game. The levels you find range from trivial levels, which are auto-completion levels that just play a song on your note blocks or take you through an impressive looking parkour. And then there's the insane levels which are so difficult only a handful of people ever finish them. And of course, everything in between. The amount of content already existing for this game is functionally infinite, and still new levels are added continuously. In a way, this is the ultimate 2D Mario game, and I wonder what happens if Nintendo ever decides to make another 2D game. Will it just be an expansion of Mario Maker? Will Mario Maker appear on the Switch in due time? Will Nintendo make a 2D Mario game that's so insane it's not even possible to reproduce it in Mario Maker? Or is Mario Maker the end of 2D Mario, giving tools to the fans so Nintendo can focus on 3D games and spin-offs? I must admit, I like that idea a lot. Super Mario World. This game is a true masterpiece, and so is every game that comes after this on the list. Super Mario Bros. 3 was a good game, enjoyable to play and a little difficult at times. Super Mario World takes a step back in difficulty, but that doesn't mean the game is any less enjoyable. As a matter of fact, having some of the more frustrating challenges from the previous game removed makes its flow a lot better and makes it a lot more fun too. Of course, Mario controls much better too. His movement is less slippery, just jumps tighter and everything just works a little bit better than in the game that came before it. The biggest change, and a good one too, is the power-up system. You now have a little box that holds your power-ups at the top of the screen. When you already have a power-up but get a new one, you'll be able to store them there. This also means that the mushroom and the fire flower aren't seen as an upgrade path, but instead as two different power-ups, which will both return you to small Mario upon being hit. Of course, when you get hit with the fire flower, the mushroom you were holding will drop and allow you to become Big Mario anyway. This might sound like it would be a little practical change, but aside from the fact that you now have to put in a little effort to make sure you grab the dropping mushroom, it also allows you to keep a fire flower and the newly introduced cape feather, which is just this game's version of the Tanuki leaf. The problem with Super Mario Bros. 3 was you couldn't easily swap between power-ups, which is an issue that's been fixed by this system. It also allows you to keep a second flower or feather. Let's be honest, you'll probably always want to have a feather since it's much more powerful. So when you get hit, you can get your power-up back right away instead of just turning back into the mushroom power. This whole system would eventually make its way into New Super Mario Bros., just like the haunted boo houses you'll find scattered across the world map in this game. These are not so much normal levels as they are puzzles. I still don't like these levels. I want to play a Mario game to jump from platform to platform, not to solve some stupidly specific puzzle which just comes down to picking the right door without any hints at all. That's the only downside to this game though. I could go on for hours about how much I love this game, but let's give some love to the next entries on this list too. Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. The Mario & Luigi series, an actual good RPG series that came from characters known for the platforming games. Is there anything Mario can't do? So naturally I had to pick between Partners in Time and Bowser's Inside Story, both having their own strong points. And I'll be honest, this place on the list could go to either. I still don't know if I think Bowser's Inside Story is actually that much better. But what I do know is that I love the fact that Bowser is more or less the main character here, and Mario and Luigi are just a means of getting Bowser new powers. Of course, this does change a little about halfway through the game or so, where Mario and Luigi get the option to escape Bowser's body, and this is where the game really starts. But at the same time, this is where the thing I liked about the game more or less dies. Of course Mario and Luigi go back inside Bowser still, but I would have loved it if they didn't come out until the very end at all and Bowser could be the actual main character of the game. Having Bowser be playable also makes for some welcome gameplay changes. Mario and Luigi are two characters, but Bowser on his own is one single much stronger character with different moves. Punching instead of jumping, flame instead of hammer, and even his special attacks are different using the touchscreen. The story in this game isn't as interesting and the world feels less developed and less varied compared to Partners of Time. The story I can excuse easily, even though this is an RPG, it's also a Mario game. And you can tell since the gameplay and mechanics work better than any number of RPGs you could name. The less developed world is a real shame though, since Partners in Time did that really well. As I said before, both games have their own strong points. Bowser's Inside Story has a good base concept and well-designed gameplay mechanics, and Partners in Time is more of a game that gets into world design and atmosphere. Which game is better fully depends on what you value more in the game. For me, that's gameplay function and design, so yeah, there you go. Bowser's Inside Story. Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, yeah, for anyone who's seen my top 10 3D platforming games list, this was obvious. I adore Mario Odyssey, and honestly I think it's not even in the same category as games like Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine. Those games still alter the map slightly if you go for certain missions. This game just drops you in a world and tells you just collect this many moons to progress. How you do it is totally your problem. But there's an absolute absurd amount of them on each map, so you won't have much difficulty getting enough. Following the story path, beating bosses and such will reward you with more moons, since you'll get the occasional triple moon, but in most worlds you could skip the boss fight altogether if you really wanted to. The game in its most basic form is rather easy. Mario controls very well and all the jumping and strange maneuvering you'll do feels natural and buttery smooth. Capturing enemies seems like a gimmicky mechanic at first, but it takes no time at all to get used to it, and it expands the gameplay possibilities to a point Mario has never gone before. I honestly can't say I really dislike any major part of this game. Sure, with having so many missions as this game offers, there's got to be some that annoy you more than others. But the game as a whole is overwhelmingly positive. The amount of moons required to finish the story isn't that high at all, at just 124. But if you want to go for 100% completion, you'll be at this a while, because there's a total of 880 of them. And in the case you can't get enough of this game, after all of that you can buy more moons until you max out at 999. Doing all this will take you a long time. I honestly wish I could tell you they would make a Mario game without a water level for once. That's my biggest issue with this game. Aside from the fact that I'm not a huge fan of the way Cappy jumps work, I just don't like water levels. They're alright in 2D games, but in most 3D games, water is just the bane of my existence. With games like Mario 64, you could skip the water related levels, or at least you didn't have to spend a lot of time in them. This game has an entire world based on swimming, and that's just too much. Having water levels is one thing, but throwing all the game time spent underwater together in one huge pile of misery is something else entirely. I'd rather see it spread out over the whole game, so I just have to complain a little whenever I see it, or even better, ignore those levels where possible. Like I said before, these are small complaints about a damn near perfect game. Mario Galaxy 2. Initially I just had Mario Galaxy on here, and I'll be honest, after playing Mario Galaxy 2 from start to finish, it's perfect as a sequel because it changed next to nothing. It just added some new power-ups and some new levels. It tweaked the common mechanics to be less insufferable, and all around just made the game that much better. Then again, about 90% of the game didn't change at all. It plays the exact same. Some of the more notable changes also include things like you now need 100 Starbits or coins to get an extra life instead of 50. While I have to admit this is a good change, it's also a little sad that this change is worth mentioning. That all being said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mario Galaxy 2 just gave us more Mario Galaxy, which is exactly what I wanted. One huge change though is that this game doesn't have to prove the Mario Galaxy formula anymore, so the planets aren't as much planet shapes, allowing the developers more freedom in creating fun platforming challenges. This game gives us things like the drill, the cloud flower and the return of Yoshi. I mean, yeah, the boulder mushroom is a thing, but let's not talk about that. Actually, let's do. I feel like people don't like this power-up, classing it with things like the spring mushroom, just because it's a little difficult to control. But giving a rare exception, the levels centered around this mushroom are actually built with it in mind, and end up being a lot of fun to play. The obstacle course, while difficult, was one of my favorite missions in Mario Galaxy 2. And when you finally think you've beaten the whole game, there's the green stars. I have not yet gotten to collecting these, and I'm fully prepared to be frustrated by them. Even without playing it, I can see how frustrating this is, but you know what? That's what it's optional content for. Mario Galaxy isn't an open world game, but these green stars make it feel like it could be. The levels in Mario Galaxy 2 are more fitted to hide secrets, and that makes the levels worth exploring. Long story short, Mario Galaxy 2 is a damn near perfect game, and while it gets a number 1 spot on this list, just above Mario Odyssey, they're both about equals for me. Both based on Mario 64 and Sunshine, but Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 went more linear. Mario Odyssey went more open world. It's a matter of personal preference, and the reason I put Galaxy on the number 1 spot has everything to do with the jumping mechanics, which I just like a tiny little bit better. Thanks for watching this top 10 Mario games list. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like below this video and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with all my new uploads. Let me know what your favorite Mario games were in the comment down below this video. Is it Sunshine? I gotta have pissed off some people by not including Sunshine, alright? Until the next time, bye.